Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cultivating Culture, hosted by the Missouri Department of Mental Health. My name is Carl Honegger, and if you're new to the show, I will be your companion as we interview various guests to discuss, highlight, promote, and foster a more positive work culture. The show itself highlights efforts undertaken by the Culture Club and the ways the department is promoting a positive work culture through various activities in each office. Our hope through each episode is for you to take one or two ideas back to your own office to promote an even stronger work culture. On today's show, we're talking with 3 different regional office directors from across the state to gain their insight on leadership and how it affects workplace culture. During our discussion, they mention appreciation, laughter, trust, and honesty as vital parts of a workplace culture. They also provide the audience with some ideas on activities that they do in their own office to promote a positive work culture and to ensure that it's maintained. At the end of the show, they also mention various resources that the audience can use in their own office. And with that, please feel free to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So today we have the 3 Jennifers on the show. So can you guys give your names and introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Sure. I'm Jennifer O'Day. I'm with the Rolla Regional Satellite Office.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Jenkins McDermott. I'm with the Kansas City Regional Office.
And I am Jenny Thompson. I am with the St. Louis Regional Office covering St. Louis County.
Well, it's awesome to have you guys here. So, as you know, we're here to discuss leadership and its effect on a positive work culture. So, we just have a few questions for you because we want to get your perspective because you guys are very highly valued across the state, and I always hear good things about you guys. So, we wanted to definitely pick your brain on your thoughts on this topic here. So, my first question is for each of you, what is a positive work culture and how would you define it?
So I'll start. For me, a positive work culture is having the best environment to promote and inspire everyone to have a meaning and fulfilling life. And that should be across the board at work and at home. So everything should balance out to be able to have people be at their best so that they're providing the best for the individuals that we support.
Great, I'll go next. I feel like a positive work environment is one in which employees feel supported by the leaders. The leadership team is positive and engaging with employees and always takes the time to celebrate successes. And even sometimes we have fun along the way.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, having just that people first environment, like the other Jennifers are saying. So just making sure that our staff feels supported, and just really normalizing and humanizing everything that's happening in our office. Sometimes things feel like crisis all the time, putting out fires, and just really supporting each other through that and normalizing that this is our day to day. How can we help? How can we work together to help with that? So.
Excellent. So I really appreciate you guys' answers to that. Those were very, very good answers, and I'm sure the audience will appreciate them greatly. Now, my next question is, what what characteristics or traits does a leader need to promote or foster a stronger work culture?
So I will start again. Laughter is really important. I love hearing people laugh down the halls in the morning when they're connecting with each other. Encouraging each other and setting expectations are important. And having that leader that can be open and humble, and knowing that there's probably better answers out with their staff than they can ever give. So that teamwork and being humble to letting that teamwork be at play.
And I believe leaders need to be able to model a positive behavior as well as a positive attitude in the office. It's very important to me that leadership uses active listening and empathy. I think another important quality is an attitude of servitude. And to me, that means not just serving the stakeholders and the folks that we support, but also being a servant to the other employees in the building that we're working with. I also believe it's very important for a leader to have the ability to acknowledge and celebrate the successes of others.
I would also add that I think just being willing to do anything with your team members, any of the work. There's no work that's above another level. If the work needs to get done, we need to work together to make that happen. So I think just being able to sort of get your hands dirty, so to speak, and dive into the work together, I think that makes a really big difference. I think it helps build trust and those relationships, those working relationships that matter so much. I think also being as transparent and honest as possible whenever possible, getting information out there and being willing to explain the why, even when people, you know, that it's not the answer necessarily that people want to hear, but they need to hear it. They need to know the reasons behind a change or a request. And so having that transparency and honesty, I think also really helps build relationships.
I love all your answers, and they very much mirror DMH's core values. And if you don't know what those are, please go to the DMH website. Uh, Under a certain tabs, you can find that information there. But Jennifer, I love that the fact that you included laughter. The other Jennifer, I included the positive attitude and the servant focused leadership. That's actually going to be a podcast that we're going to be doing here in the next couple of months here. And Jennifer from St. Louis, I'm glad that you incorporated the trust and honesty and just being transparent with your employees, because I think with all of those answers, it really is about relationship building and trying to connect, because working in this field is difficult. There are lots of changes that go on all the time. And sometimes we hear about specific cases that just wrench at the heart. So I think making sure that we build those relationships with our fellow coworkers is a much needed aspect of a positive work culture. So I want to thank you guys for those responses there. Excuse me. And my third question is, can you give us a brief example of things leaders can do within their office to create a positive work culture?
So at Rala, we are very intentional with our positive work culture. We meet monthly with what we call our crew, and our crew is our A team for the agency tiered supports. And we have an action plan that we're always looking at, making sure that we're implementing it. If something's not working, we switch it up. But it's always something that we're revisiting to make sure that we're working on this. We do a virtual shout out boards. We have one on our SharePoint, and anyone can go in and shout out about anyone, even somebody in the state. Then we also recommend, go on to the statewide shout out board as well. If you have something, even above and beyond that you really want to shout out about somebody. We do basket auctions. We have health challenges. Um, we shout out at every meeting. We start with shout outs about each other, what we're doing well. And we also have a quarterly newsletter. We have a wellness team. We have a trauma team. And everybody is welcome to participate in any of these teams. They're open to everyone. And we have really good participation with all of them. And it's just something we've built in our culture. It's just that expectation that we're here to support each other and want to be there for each other. And we have the biggest helpers in DMH. I mean, I think that's when I ask people what we do well, it's always we help each other.
And for us, Kansas City Regional Office is a tiered support agency as well. So a lot of those things Jennifer mentioned are going on here also. At the risk of sounding redundant, I just want to throw out again, celebrating successes to me is vital for a positive work environment. One thing we do here, either virtually or on a little card, is celebrate others when they display the core values of the regional office. At our all staff meetings, the floor is open to give one another shout outs. One thing we're doing next week, it's admin appreciation week. So next week, the leadership team here is hosting a breakfast for our support staff where we will be making them waffles and serving the breakfast to them. So that's something very positive that I'm really excited about.
In St. Louis, we are really working to sort of rebrand culture and really have a customer service focused mindset. And that doesn't just mean for our consumers or our stakeholders, that's for each other as well. And so we're working to build up some of our ERC events, which so far we've had a picnic at the end of last year. They've been doing virtual bingo. We had a March Madness tournament that people could join. One office even did a little Easter egg hunt during the holidays. So we are raffling off baskets and just trying to do some more fun things. It's a little challenging when we have 5 locations and making sure that we're being really inclusive of everyone and all of our team members. And that's really important to us. So trying to get creative, and that's something that we're really working to enhance. I know during our all staff, we do a drawing for it's not a door prize because we're virtual, but a door prize nonetheless of a gift card so that we just can find ways to celebrate people. And like Jennifer was saying, for Rolla, we do shout outs at as many meetings as we can and try to promote those successes. And I think even in our all staff, we're really just trying to find ways to incorporate positive outcomes that we're seeing and making sure that we are talking about those all the time. And I think with the Culture Club and getting some of that feedback, which has been incredibly helpful, we're learning that while we're seeing some change in St. Louis, we really need to be more vocal about the values that that matter to us and that the DMH values that we're trying to portray throughout all the regional offices. So I think that's really an area we want to step up on, is talking about those values and making that more of a regular conversation.
Perfect. And I think you guys are holding back a little bit of all the things you do, because I do know that Rolla, I heard through the grapevine that you guys have a quarterly newsletter that you guys do. Kansas City, I've heard about your epic Halloween events.
Yes.
I've seen the photos, so they look pretty awesome. And with St. Louis, I know that there is a picnic, and you also make time for I think it's once a month, coffee and donuts with the director. So I know that you and Emily do that in St. Louis. So I know that you guys are maintaining the connections with your employees who most of the time are working remotely, who are um, who are trying to balance a number of things. And I think you guys are doing a very good job. I think you guys were shooting yourself a little bit, because I know you guys do a lot more than that. So I just wanted to highlight that and say you guys are doing an awesome job with that as well.
Thank you.
And now my last question is just any additional resources that you can provide to the audience so that they can gain a little bit more knowledge, info, or maybe implement something in their own office to create a more positive work culture from a leadership standpoint.
So for Rolla, we're really trying to implement a very good onboarding process so that individuals that get hired on here, they are welcomed from the very beginning of their employment. We do a welcome kit so that it's sitting on their desk that day with a welcome card from everybody. We immediately pair them with a mentor for the building, just to kind of get to know what our culture's like, and just introduce them to everybody, and just be that. Sometimes I think we're a little overwhelming with our welcome, but could be worse. Anyhow, and then another thing I would recommend is there's a resource called Insperity, and it's a very good resource for all things HR and culture. It's a really good resource. Another good resource I would recommend is the University of Missouri Extension has a podcast that they do on culture and leadership, and they do lots of free training, so I would recommend that as well. And I would be glad to share that with you, Carl, so you could add that to wherever for today. But there's lots of resources out there, and you don't even have to look very far. You find them, and the key is just to implement it. So that's my spiel.
As far as additional resources for me, I have found there's lots of courses on LinkedIn Learning about building and promoting positive work culture. So I would encourage people to get on there and delve into some of those trainings. Another great resource is the DMH Way and the Carden Group, and the tools that the Carden Group is working with us to build in order to improve the positive work environment.
Yeah, I would agree about LinkedIn and the Carden Group. The Carden Group website even has some additional tools than what we have been given so far in our foundation series with the Carden Group. So that's a great resource. Even just signing up for their Facebook page, I've been able to follow some of the things that they're talking about on a weekly basis, and that's been really good. I also registered for the Harvard Business Review, the daily email. It's like a management email that comes out, and it comes out just the 5 business days of the week. Just shoot you an email. It's a really short blurb of various topics. And so it's easy to read because it's not this lengthy article. It doesn't feel like it takes up your whole morning to read it. But it just is constant reminders to always be thinking about various leadership topics and sometimes difficult things that might come up. And it's one of the free things that you can get from their website. There's a lot of stuff on the Harvard Business Review that you can pay for, but this little daily email is one of the few things that's free. So it's a really great tool that I love to use. And of course, there's just tons of books on leadership. So like Jennifer said, you don't have to look very far. You can find just about anything, but picking up just about any leadership book is a great resource.
Perfect. Well, you guys have been an incredible panel, and I am so grateful that I'm just going to call you the 3Js, that you guys agreed to do this with me. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know the audience are going to gain a great deal of information from the resources that you guys just mentioned. And I know they're going to be very appreciative of all the information that you shared on this podcast. So I want to thank you again.
Thank you for asking us.
Yes, thank you very
Carl.
much.
Hey everyone, this concludes our show. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to learn more about creating a positive work culture. If you like the show, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe feature on your device to learn more about additional shows as they come out in the near future. You can also see the show notes about additional resources discussed in this episode. And with that, please feel free to go out and make not only your day great, but someone else's day great as well. Thanks.